This isn't just another protest story. Iran has shut down the internet, cut phone lines, and unleashed mass arrest because this moment is different. What's happening right now isn't about reform anymore. It's about whether fear still works and whether the system is about to crack. In this breakdown, we're looking at what triggered this new protest wave, how the regime is responding, why strikes, not street protests, are the real threat, the role of Iran's exiled crown prince, and how the US and its allies are calculating their next move. Because what happens next won't stay in Iran. Welcome to Just with Sherry, guys. I'm Sherry, and over here, we give commentary that goes where others won't. So let's talk. And please, subscribe, because I'm sure you will like what you're going to hear. This didn't start overnight. What you're seeing right now is as a result of years and years of pressure with no release valve. We've seen many protests in the past happening in Iran. We've seen a lot of oppression. We've seen a lot of insanely horrific things happening over there. Nothing is new, but I will say that this particular protest feels a little bit different. It feels like something big is about to happen. Since 1979, Iran has been ruled by a system where unelected clerics, not voters, hold real power. The president doesn't have final authority. The parliament doesn't either. That power sits with the supreme leader, who controls the military, the courts, state media, and what behavior is considered acceptable. For ordinary Iranians, dissent isn't disagreement, it's punishment. Now add economic collapse. Iran's currency has crashed, food prices are soaring, rent is unreachable, young people are educated but unemployed. For many Iranians, the reality is brutal. Education doesn't guarantee work. Work doesn't guarantee stability, and loyalty doesn't guarantee survival. When the protests spread, the regime responded the way it always does: fear, intimidation, and force. We've seen this playbook many times before. Nothing new. Security forces, including the Revolutionary Guard, moved quickly. And then came the most telling move of all. They shut down the internet. No coordination, no documentation, no witnesses. Because when you control information, you control the narrative and slow international pressure. Street protests can be suppressed with force. But when the labor shuts down, that's when the government truly starts to panic. Because that hits revenue and function. And they don't want that. And that's exactly what some opposition voices are calling for: strikes and taking control of public space. If a country can't move goods, can't move fuel, can't run daily commerce, then it's not just protest. It becomes a system stress test. You cannot truly understand this moment without talking about Iranian women. Iranian women live under mandatory dress laws, legal inequality, and constant surveillance of their bodies and behavior. After the death of Mahsa Amini, something broke. Silence never fully returned. When peaceful participation is blocked, when voting changes nothing, when speech is punished, the street becomes the only option left. This isn't chaos. This is what happens when fear stops working. Here's where things stand. The protests have entered another week. They have spread across multiple cities. Reports indicate that dozens have been killed and detained, and that's horrible. And the blackout changes everything, because what happens in the dark can escalate fast when evidence disappears and accountability collapses. Iran's leadership is treating this as an existential threat. Senior officials have used language like enemy of God, a charge that can carry the death penalty. The pattern is familiar: cut communication, arrests at scale, make examples, force stability back into the streets. The real question is whether this remains a street movement or becomes something way more dangerous for the regime.
I ask all of you, today and tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, this time starting at 6 p.m., to come into the streets with flags, images, and national symbols, and to reclaim public spaces as your own. Our goal is no longer merely to come out into the streets. The goal is to prepare to seize city centers and hold them.
Now let's talk about Reza Pahlavi, the exiled prince, the exiled crown prince. Reports say he's urging continued protests, nationwide strikes, and the use of pre-1979 symbols like the lion and sun flag. We've seen that symbolism spread even outside Iran. But his role is complicated. Some see him as a unifying figure, others reject the notion of returning to monarchy. His influence may be less about becoming a leader and more about sustaining momentum. I will say that I have listened to some of his interviews, and I honestly, for me, I am not the person to say what should happen in Iran, who should lead or whatnot. Obviously, I'm here to give my opinion and give my analysis as well, but I think that the whole situation is way complicated, very complicated, if you get what I mean. And so I don't know that someone that has absolutely no experience, because from what I understand, he has been in exile for the majority of his life and so has not even been in Iran for so long, would necessarily be able to lead the country. Again, that's above my pay grade. But I do think that the way he is supporting the protests and supporting the people of Iran, speaking up against the regime, I respect that. Again, I don't know if that will automatically mean that if the regime does fall, that he should become the leader. Personally, I would love to see the people decide what happens next to them and to their leadership.
And by the way, to all Iranian patriots, keep protesting, take over your institutions if possible, and save the name of the killers and the abusers that are abusing you. You're being very badly abused. If the numbers are right now, I hear 5 different sets of numbers. I hear numbers, look, 1 death is too much. But I hear much lower numbers, and then I hear much higher numbers. But I say save their names because they'll pay a very big price. And I've canceled all meetings with the Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. And all I say to them is help is on its way. You saw that I put tariffs on anybody doing business with Iran. Just went into effect today. And I say make Iran great again. You know, it was a great country until these monsters came in and took it over. And it's all very fragile. What would have happened to us? I'm telling you. If I didn't win this election, what would have happened to us?
The United States is signaling support, and I would not be surprised if they do intervene. I think it's becoming very clear that there's a high possibility that the US will intervene. There's a high possibility that even before this video drops that I'm recording right now, that they may already have intervened. But again, I hope that they will not be boots on ground, just because over here in the US there's no appetite for that. There really isn't. So let's see what happens. Secretary of State Marco Rubio voiced support for protesters. President Donald Trump issued warnings but avoided full escalation. Here's the US dilemma. Speak too loudly, and Iran frames this as a foreign-backed coup. Stay too quiet, and protesters feel abandoned. Every lever, sanctions, diplomacy, information, comes with blowback. Europe has condemned violence but insists regime change isn't official policy. Canada has expanded sanctions tied to human rights abuses. The UK has condemned the crackdown as diaspora protests grow. Now let's be honest, statements don't stop bullets. The real question is whether pressure creates consequences, or whether the Iranian regime will absorb it all like they've done before. Here are the 5 paths ahead. Hard crackdown wins short term, fear returns, protests shrink for now. Partial concessions, small economic tweaks, core power untouched. Strikes trigger a system crisis, revenue collapses, control weakens. Elite fracture, security and political splits destabilize the system. Wider instability, more violence, more chaos, more external influence. It all comes down to this. Do these protests stay on the streets, or will they shut down the economy? Because when money stops moving, regimes start to shake. And will the world act in some capacity, or just allow Iran to go down? I want to hear what you think. Do you see reform happening, a regime change, or a crackdown? I want to hear from you. Go to the comment section. Tell me what you think. I'll be there to respond to you guys. I love hearing from you guys. Obviously, respectfully, be respectful of other people as well when you're commenting, but you're very welcome to do it. As you do that, you can like, share, and subscribe because, yeah, that helps the channel. And I want to thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I send you love, peace, blessings, all the good things that life has to offer. See you next time, guys. Bye.